I record all the lectures. I post them on YouTube. Attendance counts. I will take roll each class. But you can make up a missed class by watching the video. Okay, so why this course? There it is in a nutshell. What are our goals here? The short answer is to prepare you for the real world. This is taken mostly straight off the website. How many of you have actually found the class website so far? You guys are doing my heart good. Okay. Is there anyone who did not receive my latest email from like a week ago or so? Okay. Did you sign up recently or just?
Saturday.
Okay. Ping me. My email will be up here. I'll send it to you. But you need to get on Slack, and all of you actually need to get on Slack. We'll talk about that for a second. These are the goals, but the goals are basically to prepare you for actually working in industry. To give you a greater sensitivity as to what the problems are and to deal with the serious issues that you find. How many of you, a lot of you raised your hands that you've been intern or had actual works, how many of you have been involved in a software project that's been significantly late or over budget or has failed altogether? Yeah. And guess what? That's true about 50% of all software projects. And frankly, the other 50% that aren't in that group, a lot of that depends upon simply redefining what the goals are, which we will talk about. Okay, class website, class Slack. We have project wikis, and we'll talk about that in a little more detail. All the assignments and tests are via Learning Suite. We'll meet here every Monday at 2. I don't think I've ever gone for 2.5 hours. I've been teaching this since the start of 17. I've never gone that long. I think the longest I've ever gone is 2 hours, and that's rare. Usually it's maybe an hour and a half. And then you can use the rest of the time as you wish. I will usually do a biology break, but I'll do it just before or just after the 2:50 class change bell rings, so that you have the bathrooms to yourselves. You're not dealing with everyone else who just suddenly got out of class. As I mentioned, I will take roll. Attendance counts at 8%, minus 2% for each class missed. You can make it up by contacting me and then watching the posted video and then telling me, yes, I watched the posted video. I want you here to discuss, to offer your experiences, to raise your questions, to hear what others have to share. Now, this is an electronics-free zone. While I am lecturing, laptops closed, devices off, phones down. I know that Chuck actually used to have his TA go around and look to see if anyone was, had there behind us there. I'm not going to do that. But I want your attention here. Learn to take physical notes. You'll take better notes anyway. And all my slides get posted online. So you don't have to copy down what's on the slides. These will be posted to the class website probably, well, maybe a few days. I've got to fly to Denver tonight to testify at the trial. But I post all the videos online. I post all the slides online. So I want your focus here. I want you participating here. Our TA is Taylor. Taylor, are you here? No, he's not. Okay. His hours are currently posted on the website. And I'll talk in a minute about what I will mostly use him for. Overall grading. Attendance 8%, readings 24%, podcasts, we'll talk about those, 10%. Midterm, there's exactly one test in this class. It's the midterm, it's via electronic suite. You'll have 3 hours time within a 24-hour period. It'll be the Monday before Thanksgiving. You spend your 3 hours on it. Open book, open note, open everything except for open fellow classmate. I expect you to do your own work. You're on the honor code. The average grade on my midterm is probably about A-. Because you've got the books, You've been through the class. We'll talk in a second about what midterm questions are typically like. Projects. You'll be proposing projects. You'll divide up into groups to work on them. I will not grade your code. It's not the purpose of the project. The purpose of the project is to experience the pain of trying to complete something in a short time frame, particularly when you've probably overstated what you want to build. We'll talk about this in a second, but you'll end up doing 2 demos of the project. One a week before the midterm and the other the last day of class. The idea here is to learn. Extra credit, you can get extra credit by reading more books. I am a big fan of reading books. The biggest problem in our industry is people don't read. You'll hear me say this so many times, and I apologize in advance. We don't just keep reinventing the wheel, we reinvent the flat tire. The sad thing, I work as an expert witness. I've been doing expert witness work for 20 years. In litigation that involves computer technology. About half my cases are troubled or failed projects. When I first started doing this, I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Jeff Carmet, the partner who hired me, had both a law degree and a CS degree. And we'd get a call from a lawyer on some sort of disputed or failed software project. Jeff would call me into his office, and he'd put the lawyer on speakerphone and say, okay, tell us what the facts of the case are. And the lawyer would start talking, and after about a minute, minute and a half, Jeff and I would start saying, and did this happen? And did that happen? And did this happen? And the lawyer's like, whoa, how did you know that? It's like, because that's what always happens. The tragedy is we don't find new ways to fail. We fail the same way over and over again. And you're going to learn those ways in this class. Again, this is supposed to be sort of an early warning system. So, read. I have a library at home, my home office. I have 7 bookcases in my home office. Of those, 5 are filled, and we're talking like 3-foot by 7-foot bookcases, filled with information technology books. A lot of it's because I'm an expert, I have manuals on MS-DOS and Windows 95, Windows NT, Unix. I have old Unix manuals. I have complete manuals for Macintosh. I have complete for the original 1984 Macintosh technical manuals, for Next Step, for Intelligent, and I end up using them. We come up with issues where someone needs prior art, or I have to resurrect. I have resurrected systems running under Windows 98 to try out the software. Set up a virtual machine, install Windows 98, get the software working. But the point is, read. Okay, 3 books, Biblical Man Month, Peopleware, Accelerate. There are online readings. Come on in, have a seat. You haven't missed much, I'll post the slides. They are worth 1% each, not 1% altogether. There's the Philip Armour thing that I wanted you to read for today, but if you didn't, that's fine. We'll talk about it anyway. There are selective writings by me. Some of these are articles. I had a column in Baseline, which is an online magazine for CIOs for 2 years, and wrote a number of articles there, and I have them all posted on my website. Plus, I have other things I've just written over the years. As you'll see in a minute, these are pretty essential for the midterm. There is a class calendar. Go to the website. You will see this calendar here. And this basically shows each week what you're going to read. Now, I'm making a change this semester. This is based on feedback from the last few semesters. Before, I had everyone go through Mythical Man Month. We talked about that. Then we'd go through Peopleware. Talk about that. And then we'd go through Accelerate. And I got some consistent feedback. It would be nice to actually focus the readings on what we're doing next for our projects, like our org chart, our architecture, and so on. And so I did that. I've broken this up. Is that a question? Yes.
So for even the online readings, we go on to learning speed and record, and we read it? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, the online readings are numbered. It's the Philip Armour one, and then it's like Webster 1 through Webster 8, and there's a checkoff The online readings have deadlines that are going to keep you going like weekly. The 3 books have deadlines that are pretty much just a week or 2 before the midterm, since those are broken up and so on. Anyway, so this is where you want to go. Every week when I lecture, I will say, here's what you need to read next week. But this is going to be our approach for reading. Yes?
Do those, like, broken up sections of the book, do they cover the entire book? So if we read all those, we'll have our...
No, there are some chapters in Mythical Man Month and in Accelerate you don't have to read.
Okay.
You can read them if you want to, but Mythical Man Month, as much, I still consider this the single most important book written in the software engineering field. But some of the chapters are very dated in terms of the technology they're talking about. So I don't include those all. You are more than welcome to read it cover to cover. But I'll hold you responsible for the chapters that are there, yes?
Where do you say is the best place to get those books?
Amazon. I understand they're available digitally online, a digital resource. Can someone talk to that? Yeah.
Yeah, if you go through the BYU library, lib.byu.edu, sign in through there, search for the books, and then you can click the link at the bottom for the online version. O'Reilly has you sign in as long as it's from BYU.edu. It's all free.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
Now, my personal opinion is that you should buy physical copies and you should sit on your bookshelf for the next 40 years. Like I said, I have my 1975 copy of Mythical Man Month, which I probably didn't buy till after I graduated from BYU, which was in '78. But these are, no. Everything's through Learning Suite, okay. Okay, there are video podcasts that are also on the website. Basically, for 10 weeks, you need to just pick any one of the video podcasts. You may want to pick one that's relevant to whatever you're working on that week, such as, say, SQA or requirements or architecture, whatever. These were all done by Chuck Knudsen. Chuck taught the class before I took it over. Here's how when you know you're old. Chuck took an early retirement back in 2016 or whatever. He's one of my former students. I taught here at BYU in the 80s. Chuck was my student back then. He went on and got a PhD, became a professor here, was here for like 15 years, and took an early retirement. When he left, he told the department, yeah, my old professor, Webster's here in Provo, you should get him to teach the class, which is how I ended up teaching this. I love it. This is my favorite class. It's great fun. So, the podcast, here's a clue on watching the podcast, which is, before you just start one, look at them. Some of them, Chuck did all these. Some of them are relatively short. Some of them are really long, okay? Just know that before you start. Click, see, go to the podcast, see how big it is. Decide whether or not you really want to spend that much time on that topic. But this is basically Chuck covering some of these same aspects in greater detail. I may update them at some point, but I've been just too lazy to do so far. Okay, midterm. Only test, there is no final in the class. And I scheduled the midterm well after all your other midterms are done. In this case, it just happens to be the Monday before Thanksgiving. Open book, open note, open device, 3 hours. Usually the average time spent is about 2 hours. And what it is, here's the sample question. Typically, most of the questions, there's usually 5 questions, or each worth up to 5 points. So it's 25 points. Actually, it's like 120. Don't worry about it. There's 5 questions. It presents a real-world situation, and then it asks you, what are risks here, or what are mitigations, or what are key factors here? What are some questions you have? And for each of those 5 answers, you need to provide at least 1 citation to the reading. I'll do a full review and let you know what a acceptable citation is and so on. Particularly, again, I understand a lot of you will be working with electronic copies, so it's not like you can do a page number. What you need to do is to point me enough so that based on your citation, I can find what you're referring to. It's like Brooks chapter 2, the subsection titled X. Or Brooks chapter 2, the paragraph where he starts saying this. Any questions on this? We'll do a full review.
So the citation's going to be kind of informal. It's just to help you find it. It's not like some official.
Oh, no official citation. This is just sort of like, hey, you know, Brooks talks. This is Brooks' law, you know, which he talks about in chapter 2, and you know, in this whole section, it's like, okay, we all know what Brooks' law is.
So for this question here, we would have essentially 5 different citations.
Yep. Yes, that's exactly right. You should basically expect 5 citations per complete answer. And when I go over the grading, what you'll see is it's always best to put something. Even if you can't find a citation, say something like, well, we said this in class. That gives you points. Putting nothing gives you 0 points. Putting something, even if it's wrong, gives you at least 1 point. So it's always better to put something than nothing. Kickstarter projects. These will all be run through GitHub. And this is a situation where you get to propose the project that you'd like to work on. If you don't feel that ambitious, then go find a project someone else has put up there and say, yeah, I'd like to do that project. Now there's 2 phases here. Let me clarify them. One is this week, you know, starting today, you need to send me or Taylor, and probably I'm the better person to send it to. Send me your email address. I'll add you to GitHub, to this particular wiki. And what it looks like right now, get over the wiki. Here's the wiki. It has instructions for creating a proposed project. What you will do for your project is you will create a new page, and this is my dream project, yada, yada, yada. How hard does it spell yada? Save, and then I go back to the wiki, and I go down and I edit this page. I go down here, and this is the next one, so I say 2. Actually, if you want to cheat, just copy and paste the one above you. There you go. But now it's going to be my dream project. If I spell it the same way with all the caps. I'm interested. Save page. And now there it is, and it links to the page. Yada, yada, yada. Yep. So this is what I want. As many of you are inclined to do this, more projects. If you want to put 3 or 4 projects, go ahead. Because what you will then need to start doing, starting this weekend before class, is to go on and say, oh, there are 2 projects there. Let's say there's a list of 20 projects here. There's 2 or 3 here that I'm really interested in. This is really crude, but what you say is you say edit, and you increment both of these by 1. Say those are the 2 I'm interested in, and I save it out. So what we will do in class next week is we will look at all the projects, see which ones got the most votes, and we'll do a couple of rounds of in-class voting. This is sort of a non-deterministic system, because you will have people say, well, wait, I want to go over here. And someone else says, yeah, I like this project. I'll jump over to here and I'll do this. And plus, it's a good chance if you have people you want to work with, or in some cases don't want to work with, you can, express your attention for certain projects. The goal is by the end of next class to have the set of projects defined. Staffing, originally I had the staff like 6 to 9, 6 to 10, and I've actually found the projects work better with slightly smaller staffs. So I say 4 to 7. And this is a smaller group too. Both my classes, fall and winter of last year, had about 80 students in each class. And we're like 53 here, so. So, any questions on this? This is the first thing you need to leap in and do is start proposing, and you can propose as many projects as you want. Yes?
Are there any criteria for the proposals of scope or type or size or whatever?
Well, the criteria are this. You're going to do a demonstration the week before the midterm. That's what, the 18th of November. In-class demonstration. Then you'll do your final demonstration and business pitch on the last day of class, which I think is the 9th of December. It's last Monday. I actually do have some recommendations here. Hang on a second here. The short answer is no criteria per se. Oh, and by the way, all the old wikis are out there. They're pretty easy to all navigate to. You just substitute the right letters and numbers there and it'll go there. So you can see proposals that have been made in the past. You're welcome to steal them. Okay? That's a great form of reuse. Before I get to your question, let me finish up this. Basically, what you'll do is you'll go through a very brief first pass of the standard life cycle, which means here's our organization, here's our requirements, here's our architecture and design, here's our test plan, and then you will continue to refine and develop your code. You'll do the 2 demonstrations. And you'll be submitting weekly status reports for each project. The form is on the website. You can download it. It's an Excel spreadsheet. The interesting thing here is this is where I want reported billable hours in terms of the time that each team member puts in on the project. And when we get to this, I will do a little more extended lecture as to how to fill this out and what I expect in each of the fields. One of the things I'll have Taylor, the TA, do is every week I'll have him contact either by phone or Slack or whatever each of the project managers and say, okay, I've looked at your status report. Let me know how things are really going. And he may also do random contacts of non-project managers and say, okay, tell me about your project. How well is it going? This is actually a good sample of reality, and it also gets to the heart of the issue of how well are people participating. Okay, one of the classic, and I know a lot of you face this in 340 as well. One of the classic things I have here is, okay, we have 3 people, or we have 5 people on a project, and 3 of them are doing all the work. One of them is doing some of the work. One of them is not doing anything. I need to know that. I mean, I'd like to know it as soon as possible so I can have a good heart-to-heart talk with the person who's not doing any work. But notice the last item here. I fully reserve the right to lower your grade, including flunking you, if it's apparent that you have just done nothing on your group project. Now, having said that, here's a reality you're going to face. Based on your roles, based on the people you have on your project, based on your roles within the project, you are going to find weeks where you have nothing to do. You're blocked because you're waiting for 1 or 2 or 3 other team members to get their stuff done. That's true to life. That's fully acceptable. But that's different than simply ghosting and saying, yeah, I'm on the team, but I'm not going to do anything. And that won't serve you terribly well out in the industry as well. Okay, here is the basic schedule for project deliverables. And this is a very, we're talking very intense here. Bang, bang, bang. Basically 1 thing a week. So your wiki needs to be set up by the end of next week. Not the end of this week, obviously. We don't have projects yet. Then an org chart, role descriptions, requirements document, PERT and Gantt charts. And we'll have lectures each week on these deliverables and what the expectations are. architecture and design, test plan specification. You will do individual code reviews of someone else's code on your team. You just sit down with them, go through, spend a half hour, whatever, reviewing their source code, and then check that off in Learning Suite. Each team will do an in-class demo of the working project on the 19th. Then the last day of class, I have it as the 10th here. Maybe that's right. No, I think it's the 9th. No, it must be the 10th. Who knows? I'll correct the date. Anyway, last class. The whole team will come up. You'll do a business pitch as to why your project is really nifty and interesting and so on. Then you'll do your final demo, and we'll all get to see how much improvements you made between the 19th, basically over a 3 or 4 week period. Okay, and this I think gets back to the question about requirements. These are the pitfalls people keep running into. Oh, we decided we wanted to learn Unity for our project. Okay, so you spend 2 months learning Unity and you don't get anything done. It turns out to be a lot harder than you thought. Or you have a person who's familiar with Unity on the Mac and they find it works actually quite differently on the PC. It's not quite as portable as they thought. Or I want to learn this nifty new language. Or I've never done an iOS application. Let's do an iOS application. I would strongly urge against all those because what you'll find is you won't accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's a good and useful learning experience because you won't accomplish it. And one of the things we will talk about several times in class here is why this is often a root cause of project failure in the real world. If you're going to adopt a new technology or methodology, you want to do an unimportant pilot project. You don't want to use it for mission critical application. But I see it all the time. It's like, oh, we have this application, we need it done in 3 months, so let's do Agile, even though we've never done Agile before and nobody in the company has any experience. Well, I'll do a week-long boot camp and then we'll just do Agile. And they go through the learning curve anyway. The project is, like 6 to 12 months late. So, not agreeing early on the technology base. I've seen this with a number of class projects where it's kind of like, oh, we're not quite sure. We're still debating which language we're going to use. You want to nail this stuff down immediately. You all need to compromise. You all need to be very clear up front and say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this because we can't keep arguing as to whether we're going to use Go or Swift or whatever. We have to pick a language, pick a platform, make sure most of us are sufficiently capable, and those who aren't have other things to do than be on the critical path. We'll talk about critical paths. Being overly ambitious in your scope. Okay, you're all going to be overly ambitious, period. Well, we'll talk about that. You just can't help it. It's kind of, yes, this is what I want to create. This little stick figure moving across the screen. In fact, you're doing like, Battlefield or whatever. So recognize, even as you rein in your scope, that you probably haven't reined it in enough. Individual team members failing to contribute. We've talked about that. Not looking for ways to distribute the workload. This is a real challenge because you're on a tight timeline, and one of the first things you'll do is do an org chart and sort of assign and break up roles. But even as you do that, you need to find ways to break down tasks to hand out that may not fit within your role. I'm the UX UI guy, but I'm going to spend a fair amount of time helping to build this database because I don't have any UX UI work to do right now, but we need this database populated. Not keeping all team members in the loop. Okay. Billable hours, what counts as billable hours is any time you spend thinking, working, meeting together, any of that on the project. I don't set a limit. There used to be a limit. You have to do this many a week. But that actually doesn't meet or doesn't conform to what reality is. You have natural cycles. But you need to keep each other in the loop. And poor communication is an issue I usually hear at the end of the semester. Yeah.
Well, like, what kind of range for weekly hours?
It used to be 7 hours a week.
It used to be, okay.
Yeah. So basically, if you're putting in 5 to 9 hours a week, I'm fine. If I see you consistently under 5 hours a week, I'm going to talk to you or talk to your project leader and say, what is this person doing? What is this person not doing? And if the answer is they don't have anything to do, it's kind of like, okay, find something, pull something off of someone else's plate. What I don't want to see is someone doing 3 or 4 hours and someone doing 15 hours. And we've had that on some projects. You need to find ways to break up the work. This is a real life issue. Getting a slow start. You have to hit the ground running on this. You can't say, okay, I'm on this team and let's meet sometime, in a week or so and figure out what we're doing. You need to start immediately. And the faster you start and the harder you work up front, the less likely you are to run into problems or issues farther down. Questions? Comments? Yes?
So, what happens if you finish your project early?
You pass the class, okay? Seriously, if you finish your project early, if your first demo is everything you intended to do, then you guys can sit around and say, okay, what's our wish list of features that we'd like to add between now and the last day of class? And do that. So yeah, if you're smart, you'll pick a small, simple project and you will have something as close to a finished project for the November demo and then just sort of cruise into December. Yes?
How are these projects graded? Are they like the quality of the code or quality
No,
of how
no,
much
no.
together? It's just-
No, basically, if you're, the only thing that gets graded is if your team turns in the deliverables, like the PERT charts, the documents, and so on. Everyone on the team gets full credit. You show up and do a demo, everyone on the team gets full credit. I could care less about the code.
Or even like the product.
Or even like the product. Yeah, if it's like, okay, you guys really didn't do much between November and December. But if you showed up to do a demo, that's all I really care about. So yeah, this is not a grading on, you have to have these features in place in order to do this. That's not what I'm doing here, yes.
So last week, I'm pretty sure I saw on the wiki that like there was a requirements change. Was that in past years when you would work on the project for first half semester, requirements change, and then you have to deliver on it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, if it doesn't sound familiar to you, then
It doesn't.
probably nothing. So okay.
Yes.
Have these projects ever been like real businesses profitable after the class or anything like that?
I think a few of them have there have been some projects that have actually been real businesses starting up. In other words, teams formed around an existing project that they were working on for an actual business and did that. I've had a few projects where I think they really wanted to go on and do something significant with it. Whether or not they've done it, I don't know. But there have been some very clever projects. And again, I would suggest going out to the GitHub and navigating to the previous semesters and looking at the projects there. And if you see a project you like, you say, yeah, let's do that this semester. Copy it. Go right ahead. Okay. Extra credit, there is extra credit, up to 8%. If you read, I will bribe you to read. You can get up to 8% extra credit by reading additional books. And books that are automatically acceptable are out on the website. And if there's a book that's not on the website, you can ask me and say, can I read this for extra credit? If it's anything close to what I consider relevant to the class, I'll probably say yes. Okay. Let's do this right now. It's let's take about a 6-minute break for everyone to hit the restroom who wants to hit the restroom. And then I'm going to give you a little more of my background, and then I'm going to ask each of you briefly tell me why you're taking this class, what you hope to get for it, and what your current plans are after graduation. So, let's start again at quarter till.